I'm Adele London. I am a Wolfpack graduate, Loyola, class of 1990. Had to put that plug in. I work with I'm the Director of Business Development at the Good Work Network. We are a local nonprofit. We are a small business resource center. We are where you would go before you would go to a lender to kind of do that proof of concept and kind of get your back office assistance, back office together, things like that. We do a plethora of services from business planning. We have an entrepreneurship institute where we can help you with your market research, helping you to that first stage when you're just getting organized and what's the first, second, and third steps. We also do help with capital access as well. We work with a number of small business lenders, banks, as well as alternative lenders like SeedCo and ASI, and we can help you to get ready to go to bank. There's a lot of the before I'm going, I need money. There's the back office, that is our strong suit because businesses we have found that do not go under for lack of a good idea. And from the energy in this audience, I'm sure you all have a lot of great ideas. But getting that business plan, getting a strong financials and back office in place is essential to really being successful in business. And that's what Good Work Network, what we can do with you.
Thank you. And I want to thank Loyola and our friends at Good Work Networks for bringing us all together again this year. The Small Business Development Center is a nationwide program funded by the Small Business Administration. In Louisiana, we are also funded through the Louisiana Economic Development, and locally through our host universities, Loyola being one and SUNO being the other. That's probably information that you could care less about, but I'm required to put in our promotions. Our principal office is on the 4th floor of the UNO Jefferson Campus building on North Causeway. We serve a 7-parish region. We've been serving the New Orleans community since 1983, which is before most of you were born, but that's okay. Come and visit your grandmother, and we're going to be available. This is what we do year-round. We're not just an SBA disaster center. We are results-oriented. Our clients generally see a greater increase in their sales as well as employment than the average Louisiana business. Since August of 2005, we've provided over 55,000 hours of counseling free to over 5,500 small businesses. We work with our local lenders, with SeedCo and ASI, we have for years. Other micro lenders, our regional commercial banks, and it's important that you understand that all banks are not created equal. We will help match you with the best lender, the best resources, as well as helping to put your package together. I don't know, maybe there's people in the room that are independently wealthy, but most of the people that we work with need to have some outside financing to make their projects work. And so we help to put together all the documents that are in that loan package. We make sure that the numbers work before you sit down with the lender, because you can write a beautiful business plan, but all the words, all the pretty words won't help if the numbers aren't working. Speaking of lenders and financing, again, our SBDC clients have generated over $70 million in capital formation since August of 2005. We maintain a team of culturally diverse business counselors who are experienced professionals in various industry areas and different disciplines. We work by appointment only, so when you visit our website, or you can call our office at 504-831-3730 to get an appointment. We suggest to our clients and our prospective clients who are either existing small businesses or entrepreneurs and prospective small business owners that you get started with your engagement with us by attending some of our seminars. We have free and low-cost seminars. that provide a really intensive look, provide the tools so that you can get started writing your business plan. Oh yeah, you gotta write a business plan. Getting your finances in order, understanding the different ways that you can form and register your business and what the tax implications are. Do you want to go off as a sole proprietor doing business as Johnny on the spot? Does that work for you? Do you want to form an LLC? That's a limited liability company is one of the easiest, simplest, fastest ways to go. But what's that going to mean to you? If you decide that you have several partners together, you have some investors, and you're going to form a corporation, then how do you value your stock? Who you include as your shareholders, and what are the legal implications? And we can help you with all of that. We also have one that is the 5 steps to secure financing, which we suggest that everyone attend. And these cost $30, $35, and you get a lot of materials, a lot of information, a lot of your questions will be answered, and we can then help you understand what needs to be done before you go talk to the lender. You know, if you're banking, oh, I shouldn't say that. Never mind. Local lenders are much more amenable to lending to small businesses than some of the larger national brands. But we can help you make that match. And although you're right now at the point of starting your business, and we want you to also plan to stay in business. What a unique notion, huh? Our newest program is Ready for Anything, and it really was designed to help small businesses that were impacted by the hurricanes in 2008. It's now 2011, and we're rolling this out because it's a government program. We do encounter some delays, but we address a lot of survival issues. And you really need, as you're planning to start your business, to plan on how you're going to stay in business and to come up with Plan B and maybe Plan C. You know, we always think Plan B is our exit strategy in case things don't work, but what if you are successful beyond your wildest dream? That could happen. How do you manage that growth? You know, that can be a crushing responsibility, one that we would love to have, right? But still, you need to have some way of managing that growth, and we can help you with those kinds of issues. We can also deal with business risk management. If you're going to be buying equipment, if you're going to be having assets, how do you protect those assets? If you're going to have employees, what is your obligation to your employees? How do you protect them? How do you keep them? We can also help you with marketing, with innovation, website design, and all of the latest in social media, which they're gradually dragging me into. I'm on Facebook. I'm LinkedIn. I don't Twitter. But no, I don't tweet. No. But call us. Visit our website. There's a lot of information for free just there on the website as well. And I encourage you all to talk to us. I have some flyers and brochures and my business card in the hall upstairs. Please feel free to help yourselves.
Sure.
Yes, yes. How to form and register your business. It's coming up soon. It's the first half of February, I'm thinking, but I'm not sure the date.
We'll post that information. So you guys remember when Scott Whitaker came over from Stone Pigment, he was talking about organizational for your band or for your business. And so that's what this is about. That seminar is a 3-hour seminar about that particular thing. So thanks very much.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yes. Again, I'd like to echo Good Work Network for inviting us and Loyola to host this event. Pretty much, you all know about banking, and you probably want to know what is a credit union and what are our purpose and missions. In terms of a credit union is not-for-profit. We are a not-for-profit community development financial institution, which means that any profits that are made or invested back into the communities that we service. And the credit union it's pretty much owned by its members, and it's governed by a volunteer board. And the credit union is also dedicated to the credit union philosophy of people helping people rather than paying profits to stockholders. Credit unions return earnings to members in a form of dividends, and how we improved our member services. And one of that is with a lower interest rate, in which our interest rate caps at 18%. We cannot charge anything over 18%. And I can assure you, going out to later when we talked about different products there, you can go on to different banks and you can compare in terms of costs for credit cards or fees. That's something that you would want to when you shop for products, or we'll go a little bit into the checking account just to give a general idea. And also, credit unions, we're pretty much like banks. We have products and services similar to bank. And then depositors are also insured up to $250,000 with bank. You're insured through Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and federal credit unions are insured through the National Credit Union Administration up to $250,000. And also, ASI, this year, we will also be celebrating 50 years in existence in terms of we've been here, helped to lift individuals out of poverty, and has provided them with economic empowerment. And we also work in partnership with organizations such as Make It Right Foundations, Habitat for Humanity, St. Bernard Project, KIP Renaissance. These are nonprofits that our staff commit into volunteering back into the communities in terms of helping out. And also, we also partners with SeedCo, because I know with the credit union we also have a nonprofit arm, which is Shared Initiative Inc. We offer first-time home buyer counseling, credit counseling, foreclosure prevention. We also have a micro lending program, which was through the Economic Development Business Recovery Program after Katrina. We were able to use that money to lend out at a low interest rate, and we'll talk. I will share with you a little bit more about that also. But just to tap on different products and services that the credit union have, it's important because we have products that can help you start out with, and like John said, to keep track of your records of your starting out businesses. And for one, what you need to do, the first thing that you need to do is set up a business checking account. It doesn't matter, either through our credit unions or any financial institution out there, but you need to keep it separate, from your personal to your business. And for one, we have a free business checking account, so that's something that you want to look into. When you go out there, that's what you want to compare. But the first step is to, do that, and it's important that you separate it and keep track, because once you, with the small production that you have, it's important to keep that track record, so that way when you go into, a bank or a lending institute or any technical assistance services to put your plans together, that's what you need. And then besides, on top of that, in terms of products, I know you're still in college here, so we also have products that can help you with, for right now, we have computer loans for students, so which means that if you're still in college, you can take advantage of that. It's zero interest. You can pay it within a year. So it's very attractive that this is something that you want to take advantage. So if you know that you're going to be graduating soon, and for you to go out and start a business, the first piece probably you want to have is it's a good computer to keep track of all your sales and all your production there. So I encourage you, in your package, you do have a brochure like this to take advantage. So just kind of, in general, comparing, what ASI have to offer, we have similar product just like with any other financial institution. And the attractive part is that our micro lending program, as John said, with SeedCo, there is it from 50 and above. Now with ours, it's from 1,000 up to 25,000, and it can be unsecured because when we looked at, we'll go in details in terms of, when we evaluate or underwrite a loan, what criteria is that we looked at. So these are important, factors that we look into, with different products there. So this is a piece that you see in your package if you get more information on it as you read into it. And also in terms of services, we partners with Good Work, with SBDC, with that technical assistant to help to build that package there. So we're a nonprofit. We work arms in arms with other nonprofit to help, and our goal is also to be in business, to make the money to invest it back into the community. So a lot of these products are really out there to help the underserved community, and that's our mission out there. In terms of product-wise, we're not into high interest rate. We're not into high fees. So in the package, you're going to see a brochure like this. You can look into different products or different fees that we have. So so for one, take advantage of what is out there. Again, yeah, we'll talk more into in terms of the loan products. Yeah.
And being results-oriented, I wanted to say that LSBDC's client is getting ready to close on a $25,000 unsecured loan with ASI to start a recording studio. So, it works. It works. It really does.
That's amazing. So, there's so many subjects we could talk, and I'm sure that the students have questions. So we have two organizations who will advise small businesses and two organizations who will loan money to small businesses. Mm-hmm. So how does these young people, do they need to look at their credit reports? They need to find out, how does somebody go about improving their credit, checking their credit, and determining if they're going to be in the proper place to apply for a loan?
Yes. The first thing when you look into a loan is the utmost important is know where your credits are. And even with the business industry right now, a lot of them doesn't know, what their credit score is, how their credit is in the past, or do they have any credits? Pretty much, a lot of them, cash basis. So for one, it's hard to lend someone that doesn't have any history, because those are important factors. And what we looked at is the 5 C's. The 5 C's here are the key elements a borrower should have to obtain in terms of getting credits. And the first one is character, which refers to the borrower's reputation. And what we do here, that's where the credit report comes in. And with that credit report, for one, you can go through any of our TA, there are 2 here, providers to assist you with that first step. And through a nonprofit assured initiative, we also have that service. It's free of charge for the credit counseling, just to check on your credit. The next C is capacity, which measures the borrower's ability to repay a loan by comparing your income versus your debt. So we looked at your debt to ratio income. And our debt to ratio income with the loan program that we have, the micro lending, it's 1 to 1, which means that as long as your cash flow is in, it's enough to pay your debt, then we will go with that. The next one is capital, which the borrower puts toward a potential investment, because a large contribution by a borrower will take the chances of default. So what do you have to we're looking at, what do you have to put into your business? So for one, if you have a production, worth of $25,000 and you want to go into a lending institute and wants $25,000, chances are we won't be able to do that. You have to put your, in terms of when we loan, we're looking at, 80-20. So you have to put out 20% of your investments into the business, and then we can lend you the other 80. So it's important when you work with the TA providers, you let them know, in your plan, what are your commitments, what are your share into it. Otherwise, lenders will not take that risk. Next one is collateral. Do you have properties or anything to secured? A lot of the banks with large loans, they required collateral. For us, through the credit union, we do have loan products that require collateral too. But with the generous, through the London Economic Development, we have what we call as the revolving capital fund. As we loan out to people, we're getting that money back. So we were able to take that risk and do it as an unsecured. But then when you look at, like Jerry was saying, if your business expand there and you want to go further, what do you have for collateral when you have to use those large loans type? They will look into collaterals, but some of the programs we have do not require collateral. And a lot of financial institutions, when you don't have collateral, you have to pay at a high interest rate. So that's the difference with collaterals and uncollateral loan also.
I would say there are 3 credit reporting agencies. You can go to annualcreditreport.com. You don't need to, if you're really serious and you're really, really looking to sit down with the lender, then you need to pull all 3 scores. But on any given day, you can pull one from any agency. It doesn't affect your credit. It's not an inquiry, and it's free. Or at least the report is free, and you have to pay for the score.
Right.
But it's like $7.95 or $9.95 to get the full report and your score. Word of caution. Those kids that sing the little songs about freecreditreport.com? Okay, you know that this isn't real. Because when they say they will monitor your credit and send you email alerts, you've just subscribed for a service. So be careful when you go online that when they say, oh, do you want to subscribe? We'll send you emails. Say, no, thank you, unless you want to be paying $39.95 a month for the rest of your life. So it's a good thing to do. You can get your credit score. Generally speaking, lenders are looking for strong 600s or into the 700 for their loans. Depending on the nature of the loan, if you have collateral, as Lang said, all of the lenders are going to be looking for you to have made some contribution to your own project. They want to see that you have equity, that you believe in it enough that you're going to put up your own money, or your mama's money, or your great aunt's money. And it's usually in the range of 20-25% for a startup business. It might be less for a business that has an established track record. But you need to know your credit scores, and that is something that we're going to ask you when you come in. What's your credit score? How much money do you make? What are your sources of income? And what do you owe? Because any lender, even our good friends here, want to be assured that you will have the ability to repay their money that they loan to you.
And the important thing on that is if you start out with no credit, there are ways that we have products through ASI Federal Credit Union. We have products that can help you build that credit. So it's good. No credit is better than having credits with bad credits. So that's the important thing that you want to establish there. Now, if you have bad credit, there are ways that we can help you to improve that credit. So it's important that you seek out the technical assistance or go through us for the credit counseling, so that way, for one, we can help you pull up that credit, and through the credit counseling, we'll be able to pull the 3 credit bureaus without having to hurt your credit if you have credit established already. Now, like Jerry said, you can go through annualcreditreport.com to see if you know that you have credit passed. That's how you can see where you are. But the important thing is, seek out the technical assistance. That way we can lead you, show you the right path to go. And that's
one of the key themes here is don't be surprised when you're talking to the lender. You want to have done your homework prior to coming in to see the lender. You want to know what your credit score is. You want to have even credit score is one piece of the puzzle. It's not the be-all, end-all. I've done loans for people with very low credit scores, but we find ways to get around that. We help them get their credit score up, or we find other aspects of the deal that we can really latch on to. So credit is not the end of the world. It is important. You need to know what your credit score is, and you need to try to keep it up if you can.
Never ever default on your student loan.
Oh,
Yes, that sticks with you for a long time.
Stays with you forever.
So what is most important when you go beyond credit is really, and I'm glad Lang introduced the 5 C's, because every lender, the first thing you learn about lending is the 5 C's. Mm-hmm. To me, the most important of the 5 C's is capacity. Before you come talk to me as a lender, you need to have a really firm understanding of how you're going to pay that back. I'm not in the grant-making business. There are people who are in the grant-making business, and there are other types of investors that are willing to take that higher risk. But you need to understand who you're talking to and where they're coming from. So you have a capital landscape that generally goes from grant makers on one side, what they call friends, family, and fools, which are usually your very early stage investors. Those are the folks that are good, the aunt that is going to come up with $10,000 that she doesn't care if she loses. And then you start moving into the banking world with the credit unions and the alternative lenders that I represent. And then you move up through the banking scale. Usually smaller local banks are willing to take a little bit more risk, and then you work your way up to the name brand banks where you probably have your checking account. And as you do that, the cost of capital gets cheaper. So ultimately, you want to end up at a Capital One or a Chase or something like that, because hopefully they'll treat you well, and you can,
the credit union.
and they can ultimately get you inexpensive financing. Lang's rates may be able to compete with that. I know that mine aren't. Mine are intentionally structured to be higher than those banks and probably higher than Lang's. So you want to make sure that you really thought through this process of how you're going to repay the loan. The next step is to really know how to communicate your business model to that lender. Communicate what you do, how you're going to repay it. Be prepared to show me some documentation. I love listening to you talk, but I've got to see it in writing. Every banker wants something in writing to back up everything you say, and be prepared to put all your cards on the table. We're going to want to know everything about your business. We're going to want to know everything about you personally, and we're going to probably want a mortgage on your firstborn. You need to be prepared to go that extra mile when you walk in, because as Jerry alluded to, if you haven't bet the farm on this, why are you taking my money to do it? And so you've got to really believe and show that you believe. Last piece is a little story about character. A lot of character is judged by how well you know your lender. Someone in a similar panel setting where I was in the audience once said that you need to have, if you're going to be a business owner, you need to have several best friends. One is your banker, one is your accountant, and one is your lawyer. You need to know all of those people by their first name. That's how you develop a relationship. You have people watch you over time, watch you grow, watch you get to the point where you are fundable. For instance, I had a Loyola grad who I'm working with right now. I have turned him down at least 3 times. And I just this last week finally approved a loan for him, which is great. That individual had persistence. He stuck with me. I'd say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And he'd say, well, I'll talk to you in 6 months. And so he'd come back in 6 months and he'd say, look, I'm a little farther along. Can you do this? And we'd go through the process again. And I'd say, no, I can't do this. And then finally, now the business has grown to the point where I can. And hopefully this is an inflection point for him to where he can really scale and grow his business.
And I think that that's important. What John said, relationship, it's important, and that's how we see our members too. If you are a member of the credit union, you haven't defaulted your loan versus someone that's just coming in, wanted to borrow a loan. So that relationship, it's very important. So the first connection is to establish your relationship with the bank, with the credit unions, to build that capacity up. So.
Yep.
I just wanted to add about going back to the credit piece. At Good Work, that is the very first step with us. When you come in the door, we're going to send you to credit counseling, regardless of the business. And we usually use Capital Access Project, which is one of our partner agencies, and they will do what we call a credit action plan. Because most people, if you say improve your credit, what does that mean? How to do that? And the credit action plan is really a tool to help individuals to know, okay, if I do this, if I take out a secured credit card or secured credit loan with ASI, because I know you guys have a number of credit builder products that we often refer our clients to help them with that for $500 or $1,000. That credit action plan will help you to navigate that. And I know most of you guys are, very young, so no credit is probably more of an issue. No credit history established. So establishing those relationships, as they're talking about, is really, really key because you are so young and you don't probably have a big track record, or your parents have bought your cars and things like that. So starting that, and even if you're not really seeking money right this minute, it's something to start thinking about. It's something to think about in the future, even if you're going to be looking for funding in 2 or 3 or 5 years. Really starting that path now is really keeping your credit, establishing a good credit history, not defaulting on your student loans, as Jerry said, is really something to think about now. But I don't want to just think about getting, starting a business, yes, it's about capital, right, but it's so much more before you get to the lender. Your business plan is not just to get money, and often people think they're writing a business plan just to get money. And I mean, yes, that is one aspect of writing a business plan, but it's your compass. It's your plan. It's your strategic plan of how you're going to start, grow, and expand your business. So, don't think of a business plan as just a tool just to get this $25,000 from ASI and then it goes in a drawer. So, it's supposed to be used. It's something that is a living document that you revise, that you keep, that you turn into an action plan or an implementation strategy to keep your business alive and well.
Yes. And it needs to be revisited. Again, as you
It's a
said,
living
it
document.
doesn't go into
No.
the drawer. It doesn't go on a shelf. It doesn't collect dust. It's a roadmap, and it's something that as you move along, you're going to revise. And what it does is it says, I'm here. This is where I'm going. This is where I want to be. And this is how I'm going to get there. And here are the milestones, and those are the important pieces, because if you're not hitting those milestones, if you're not making those objectives along the way, you can take corrective action rather than waiting until it's too damn late to do anything about it. Okay. And I am tired of seeing people come into my office after they're already so far in the ditch that we can't haul them out, because they haven't planned, because they haven't done due diligence along the way. And I said, well, how did you get here? Well, I don't know. Things just went south, So the business plan is an important document, and it's a working document. It's a living document that you need to stay on top of.
And often those people have business plans. They just didn't. They just never looked at them again. So
I would add that you need to internalize the business plan. So the business plan is not just an exercise that you write. It really does need to be your guiding light. When you bring me a business plan, I'm going to set the business plan on the desk, and I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, tell me what's in here. Tell me what you're doing. And if you don't know the ins and outs of what your milestones are, what your success metrics are, where do you want to be in 3 months, where do you want to be in 6 months, where do you want to be tomorrow? If you can't tell me that and articulate that to me, then it becomes very difficult for me to buy into what you're trying to do.
That's why I note write your business plan.
Yep.
I will help you write your business plan.
Right.
I will help you with the formatting, and the hardest part I think that people run into is when it gets to that financial pro forma, where they're trying to say, okay, gee, I don't know how much money I'll make. I don't know, how can I tell you on a month-to-month basis for the next 3 years what my revenue stream is going to look like? Well, that's what these lenders want to know, and they want to know the assumptions that went behind that. They want to know, well, I'm assuming that I can sell 15 widgets a day, and it costs me 50 cents to produce one, and I sell them for $1. That's what they want to know.
And then how many people walk by your storefront?
Yeah.
Because if you tell me 5 in a day, then I'm going to tell you that you can't sell 15.
On the other hand, if you say, well, I can make a snowball in 10 seconds, therefore I can make 4,000 snowballs a day, And therefore, I'm going to make $1 million my first year. You know, we're not going to believe that one either. So, you know, we have to find realistic, you know, middle ground, and we have to have those assumptions in writing. And that has to come from your head, not mine.
Well, not just your head. Really, what we're talking about is knowing your industry, market research, and it's the most laborious and taxing part of doing your business, but it's a must.
Tedious, yeah.
Because I've seen where you were saying they have a fabulous business plan and they don't really, they had someone to do this fabulous business plan and they don't know their industry. They don't know the ins and out of the industry. And I've seen the opposite where, you know what, they're not the best writers. They can't really necessarily format, but they know their business. They know their industry. And that's what Jerry's saying. Exactly. And I can work with that person every day, all day. Because if you know your industry and you've done your due diligence and done the market research, I can help you to do the cash flow. We can help you. That's what we do. We are technical assistants. We can help you to format your business plan, to put it in a way and be able to communicate it. But knowing your industry, I know nothing about the music industry necessarily, except what the few businesses that I've worked with, and pick up something from all different industries. And I have worked with my fair share of studios, but they have to know their industry. And that's the part you have to do. But there are resources out there. At Good Work Network, we never say we are the end-all, be-all, but we will definitely connect you to resources that are out there. And I also want to address with that granting thing. Now you have to tell me about that, because we put that there aren't any grants out there. So I don't want you guys to walk out thinking there are granting agencies out there that really are. That's kind of a misnomer a little bit, but doing your own market research is really where the rubber hits the road, really.
And knowing how you're going to stand apart from the competition. You know, how many talented people are there in this room? Well, at least 100.
Don't ever tell me you have no competition.
You know,
That's
what's going to
always
set you
the wrong
apart?
answer.
What's going to make you different? What makes your business work better than everybody else's? What's special about the fact that you're doing it? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you need to really connect, and I think the business plan helps you to articulate that and puts it in writing, and that document will speak for you on your behalf in your absence. But again, there's going to come the day that you're sitting across the table from one of these people, and they're going to ask you a question. You better not be sitting there looking like a deer in the headlights. You know, if you don't know it, you know, and I mean, you've got to know it, you've got to be passionate about it, you've got to really believe in it, because if you don't believe in what you're doing, why should anybody else? And you need to be able to speak to it.
And the reason we mentioned business plan, because that is one of the requirements when we looked at a business loan application. If it's, you know, for start of new business, you have to have a business plan and projected cash flow, you know, 3 years, 5 years, because if we lend you a loan for 5 years, we want to make sure that you're still in business to collect that money. And then there's a checklist that I have on the table out there that gives you a general information that we require. The first is a loan application, personal financial statements, which, you know, the banks, we provide that. Business tax return, if you're a new business, you don't have that, so the business plan and the cash flow will come and replace that. Personal tax return, if you are working, you have personal tax return, that's what we need. In articles of incorporation or LLC, or if you're a sole proprietorship, there are occupational license that you need to obtain or doing business as, and that's something that the TA providers, the technical assistant, will assist you in getting all those together. Or even if you're actually doing it right now, someone was mentioned earlier when you do the introduction that you have productions. If you really are doing that and you're making the money, it should be in a separate account so that you can manage what you're bringing in, what you sell. So that would be your initial steps there, and pretty much a narrative describing, you know, the nature of what your business are, and that entails into your business plan. So there's a checklist that we have that's on the table that you can take with you.
Somebody's going to start a business, right? And most of you guys have got band out there. That band
I believe at the SBDC, you were talking about marketing. What exactly does that entail? Do you like create a marketing plan for the entrepreneur, or do you actually do the marketing for them?
Work with you to create the marketing plan.
Okay.
Okay, because just as she said, you need to know who your competition is. You need to know who your target market is. You need to know, what geographic bounds you have. You need to know how you're going to be pricing your product or service that's going to be competitive and provide the revenue you need for your cash flow to keep your business going and growing. So we're going to work with you one-on-one, confidential, free counseling, and we'll sort out all of those things. And we're going to ask the tough questions about who's your competition, how many other bands are doing what you're doing, or how many other production companies are out there doing what you're doing. It used to be that you had to have a really huge studio and lots of fancy equipment to be able to make a recording. Now you can burn CDs, just about any room. And people are doing that. So what's going to make your sound quality better? If you're a production company, if you want to do studio work. But we'll work with you on that, and then we'll figure out what the best strategies are. Depending on where that target market is, how do you reach them? How do you communicate with them? Everybody's on the internet now. So how do we design a website that's going to, maximize or optimize your search engines? And what other options do you have?
Another thing, just going to your question on marketing, professionalism. I would think that many of you, if you are in bands and things, and those are businesses, by the way, and do you know why you charge what you charge? I mean, is there a rationale behind it? I mean, do we just say, we all need to make $50, or do we actually know why you charge what you charge? Or what are your expenses? Have you itemized those things out? Do you know all that you should consider? Yes, you should consider the other bands that are out there. You should consider the venues, what they're charging, but you have to know what you need to charge.
Or how much the saloon owner will let you take off the door.
Or ways to your worth, and ways to structure that, and ways to communicate to those venues. How to do that in a professional manner instead of just just give them a call. If you communicate yourself in a certain way and hold yourself in a professional demeanor, I guarantee you the venues and the people you deal with will act a little differently too, and act accordingly. So professionalism is a big part, and that's some of the things, and ways to communicate. Bringing that to another level is another thing that the technical advisors will assist you with.
And the important thing, coming back to documentation, is that the income that you're generating, it needs to be reported in terms of paying your taxes, and that's important because that's something that we're dealing with right now in the industry that's affected by oil spill. People doesn't have the documentation. They're not filing their taxes correctly, so it's important that you start out the right way. Report your income, pay your taxes, so that way when you come to the bank, you have your tax records. That's what we go by. Once you're established, that's what we go by. And if you don't have the number to reflect what you're telling us, we're not going to be able to loan you. So it's like, I'm making, $30,000. What's your proof? If you just have a book and you don't have, tax, or in your account, we're going through that right now. Either show us your bank statement to show that you have income generating in. It's like, well, I'm cash basis. It's like, that's fine. Where do you put the cashes? So that's important. Documentation, tax returns, record keeping.
and to I know a couple of you mentioned CDs and things like that, and barcoding, and when you're trying to say, I sold 1,000 CDs last year. Well, how do they know? I mean, if it's not coded, if it's not recorded somewhere, how can you record? How can you have any kind of accurate?
Oh.
Okay.